you're going to use.
Yes, correct.
And in reading the staff analysis, it's in compliance with our zoning, so there's no reason that can I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the replacement of the door and, is it a replacement of the side lights or refurbishing?
It's refurbishing of the existing side lights and transoms.
Okay, so replacement of the existing front door and refurbishment of the side lights per the application.
Okay.
And the transom.
Do you
I
have
was
a comment?
just going to say, that my only concern was about what was originally a fiberglass door. That's been changed now, and so I'm happy with the wood core, so.
Right. You
I'll second, yes.
Great.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, we are now moving along to 5 Mason Avenue. And this is a two-part. This is a approval after the fact, and then also he would like approval for some things that have not been done. So has everyone read the staff report? If not, I'll start.
No, would you-
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll go ahead and start reading. It says, in 2018, the owner renovated the interior of the house and converted it from a duplex building to a single-family dwelling unit. There was no work that required HDRB approval at that time. At the end of December 2022, while in conversation with the applicant on another property, he informed the office staff that he had removed a front set of stairs, which are pictured in the staff report on page 2. Okay. As part of the owner's efforts to have the front of the house reflect that it is a single-family dwelling and not a duplex anymore. He was instructed to stop all work on 5 Mason Avenue and submit an application to the HDRB, who must
Yeah.
approve all exterior work on property in the historic district. Staff worked with the applicant to ensure the application he submits covers not only the work that was done without approval from HDRB, but any further work that he would like to do on the property. So we separated that out for you. So for the after-the-fact approvals is 1, removing front masonry steps, which the first picture on page 2 is the current front of the house now. And then the below pictures are what it looked like before. Number 2, painting the portion of unpainted masonry foundation that was exposed after the removal of the front steps, which he did at the end of March 2023, and repainting the previously painted foundation at the end of March 2023. And 4, painting the front remaining masonry steps on the right side. We researched our office records and located a photo of this property that was taken during the National Registry of Historic Places, Cape Charles Historic Update in 2019, which are the pictures that you'll see where it says 2018 National Registry of Historic Places. And if you take a look at the pictures, it's twofold when you look at the pictures. 1, the masonry steps were not painted in the photo, but the applicant has now painted them. And 2, he continued to do work even after being told to stop and repainted the foundation. And as you can see, the foundation was previously painted red.
That's red, that's not brick.
Yeah, that's
It's
my,
red.
that's my question. That's not brick? The
I'm
2018 photo?
I'm not for sure, but it looked like
It
it was
looks like brick
painted
to me.
from the photo. It wasn't brick. It was painted red.
Were they
The
painted
foundation was painted before,
Just not the steps.
just not the steps. And then this is for the new approvals. The applicant is seeking approval for a certificate of appropriateness for the following: replacing the existing front porch wood flooring with composite decking flooring. Replace the existing front porch wood columns with structural composite columns. 3, installing new wood railings to match the existing railings in the area where the masonry steps were removed. And 4, adding a 72 by 80 door opening on the rear left side of the 2-story single-family home.
I don't know.
And then we added, while you can not see the rear of the house from the side street, we have included the rear work on this property just to keep all the work under one certificate of appropriateness versus one issued HDRB and one issued by zoning administrator for work not requiring HDRB review. Just as a point of clarification, while there were changes made to the rear of the house in 2018, we could not find any review conducted by the HDRB, but it may have been considered exempt from review since you could not see the rear of the house from the front or side street. And of course, you can see the materials list that is pointed out for you.
Question on the door, on the back of the house. It looks like in the old photo, there was a door.
There was a door.
So is the new door going in the same spot?
It's going to be a little bigger. I do believe it's going to be a, hold on, they have it in here, a full light gliding patio door.
Oh, it's a patio door, that's a swing door.
As in, this is listed under the materials list.
It won't be the same, can't be. Yeah,
Okay.
Does
And
The
this,
exact same
no,
location is going to align more under
the window.
on the second story.
Yeah,
Oh, I see, it's gonna move over a little, yes.
yeah.
but it increases the opening because it's a sliding glass door?
No, there's no there today. I was just including the picture on the rear so you could see that there was a door there.
It was a swing door.
The old one.
Yes,
The old,
the old
But
one
That
was
swing door's not there anymore.
That
No.
door's been gone since at least 2008.
18, yes,
okay, so we're dealing with the yellow structure, not
Yes.
the white structure.
Yes.
Yes.
This is the
Okay.
new, this is.
So the yellow structure will have a new door where the old door was.
yes,
But it won't be a swing door.
no.
It'll be,
A sliding,
It will be, sorry, let me get back to it will be a full light gliding patio door.
so it'll be 6 foot wide instead of
Yeah.
a 32-inch door.
72 by 80.
Yes,
And then
So-
the other opening, is that a door? I can't tell, that skinny, is it parallel with the new door under the other window?
yes, that is a door. That was work that we are thinking was done in 2018.
And is that gonna stay?
You'll have to ask the applicant, that was not on the application.
Okay.
So, for staff analysis, under zoning compliance, the property is a legal conforming use, and this application is in compliance with the zoning ordinance, with the exception that the applicant continued doing work after being told to cease all work. However, no stop work order was issued since we were trying to work in good faith with the applicant. And of course, any property within the historic district overlay is required to meet the historic district guidelines, which are superimposed on the underlying zoning district regulations. And then all of the historic district overlay design guidelines are listed. And then the staff recommendations. And then the applicant is here.
Thank you, Tracy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we could dissect this.
Is the applicant here?
yes.
Yeah, could you come forward, please? Thank you.
My name is Martha Donovan.
Could you,
Nice to meet you.
I'm deaf in this ear, so.
My name is Martha Donovan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So your recommendation to us was to determine if the provided enough documentation to prove that the porch floor wood and columns could not be repaired or replaced in time.
And that's, as you see, that's written in the historic overlay design guidelines in section 7, which was also included.
So, quick comment from my side. From the pictures, I can see where the decking definitely is not, and it would need to be replaced. I don't know that the columns and the railings don't look as bad. Not sure. Are you just trying to have it all?
I'm trying to have it all conformed and to put it back
Yeah,
to its original state, because it was a single-family home at one time.
So
Yes,
you
sir.
don't want to use the wood for the flooring either?
We have been repairing many spots. No, as the way it is, no. We would want to replace it. Would you want to elaborate, Jerry? Or what kind?
And you want to replace it with the composite material?
Yes, ma'am, yes. As well as that with the columns.
What are you going to do to replace the columns?
Well, we're going to use the same,
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure, please.
please, I defer to Jerry, since he is a contractor.
The columns look like they've been there since 1912, so they're
Sure,
wooden.
right.
So, they've dried over time. And since they're round and, the wood is cut in a kind of a triangle shape to go around.
Correct.
So it's splitting, and there's no way to put it back together. So
Have you, so what were you going to do instead of the round columns?
same thing, but just the structural ones, the composite structural ones that they use now, they're rated to hold so much weight.
Okay,
But they're,
so
would
there'll
stay
still be a
round.
circular column,
Yes,
It'd be
they would
exactly the
stay,
same.
They
yes.
designed it.
you
They
wouldn't be
would
able to
stay
tell the
round.
just
difference.
different
Yes, sir.
material.
Yes,
The
sir.
railings?
The railings, when we took the steps out, I hired Ben Burton to remove them, but he wasn't authorized to start. So I was out of town, I came back and they were gone, so I immediately, it wasn't part of something else, I actually went down and informed zoning that he jumped the gun and removed them. When he removed them, the concrete that was holding the cinder block together ripped out the bricks.
So they're already off.
Yeah, it ripped them out, so there's a big hole there. And, the way they built these, they built them not the proper way structurally. So you can't have this 3-foot by 4-foot hole in the front because it could cause structural issues, especially with an already rotting floor joist. And the columns weren't built properly. They put them on top of the wood floor, so when the wood floor rots under them, they sink. And they should have put masonry stuff, and the columns should have been on the masonry, and the wood floor should have been cut around. Instead, when they built them back then, that's why we
Bottom
had
line
the
is
issue.
you can't continue using them because they're gone.
Yes.
So you have to replace them now.
Yeah, the wood floor rots because we're in a breezeway right up Mason, so we've got the bay and we've got the harbor, and you go west to east with the flow. When we do patch the floor, we use actually solid oak. It'll rot in a year. So today, the floor could be good. A month from now, you could put your foot through the thing because it's just the way the wood there rots. So for safety reasons, we use it as a vacation rental. We'd rather put something that we know when we're not there, nobody can get hurt. To move to the railing, we're just going to replace the railing that's open where the old stairs were. We're not doing a whole bunch of replacing. So we're going to match the existing railings, which I believe were original to the house, because I haven't found those anywhere.
Wait, I'm confused. So you're not gonna put all new railing up?
Just where we're just doing the railing right where the hole is from
Stand corrected.
where the old stairs are. Because before, originally the house was supposed to have a staircase on the right. Then a family made into a duplex so they could rent half, and they put these other set of stairs in. The cinder block stairs are not historic stairs. The actual staircases should be wood. All those houses should have wood stairs in there, and you'll see it around town.
Not necessarily.
But that house, yes,
You know that for a fact?
yes.
Do you have
And
pictures?
no, but I know, we've done a lot of research. But that's all right, I'm not gonna argue with you about it. That's what's supposed to be
Because there
there.
are a lot of houses that came with concrete stairs.
Yeah, concrete's one thing, these are cinder block. Nobody puts up cinder
Mine
block for
were cinder
stairs.
block.
Mine
They're
were
the
cinder,
original
mine
ones.
are cinder block.
But
But they're not,
It was
they're
built
not the
in
proper stairs,
1896, they
Yeah.
used block.
so, yeah, that's
So
why
are
we
you
started using.
replacing the stairs too?
No, because we're trying, the house when it was built only had one staircase. So they put these cinder block staircase in probably in the 70s when they turned into a two-family, maybe the 80s when they turned into a two-family house. Those staircases came in much later. And so 5 Mason, 7 Mason, same house, so you can see they're supposed to look the same, pretty much, but they don't, because 7 Mason did a whole bunch of extra stuff. But anyway, those two houses have staircases on the right.
I don't see a picture of the house before. Do we have one?
Before.
What is?
If you go on
Before the
page,
stairs were.
page 206 at the bottom, the 2018 National Registry.
Yeah, these right here.
Shows you both from.
I got color.
You got color.
I got color.
How'd you get color?
It's not, it's the same house.
It's the same house.
It's just a different color.
My own ink.
It's the same house without color. Mine's black and white.
So
All right,
I guess, so,
And so the stairs in that first photo of the 2018, those stairs are gone now. That's what they have removed. And they're not looking to return a set of stairs, they're only wanting one set of stairs to service the entire front porch.
Which would
the
be-
right side.
Which would be that stairs.
That's correct.
On the right
I'm
side.
saying, these are demolished.
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
And then where that's demolished, they now need to put some railing up so that.
To
there's
cover
no
that opening.
longer a safety issue of
Yes, sir.
of an open
Correct.
porch.
Okay, this is what he didn't get a permit to do? Take down the
That's
stairs?
That's correct.
Bad.
no, well,
I mean, bottom line is they're gone, so we can't,
You can't rebuild them, so.
yeah.
but,
So
and,
now we have to approve
but-
what he's gonna replace
but-
it with.
Go ahead.
you know, after the fact approvals are relatively rare, and in almost every case, something was done, the person didn't realize that it required approval, and so we would entertain it with that kind of a history. Now, I may be reading things wrong, but I got the impression in this particular case that after the people had been notified that they would have to have approval, they continued with doing that work in spite of that, and I don't know where things stood in terms of how could they do that?
I will say Mr. Blankenship is correct when he said, he came to the office on another matter to talk with us about, and at that time told me that this had just occurred on his property. So he did come forward and acknowledge that his contractor had jumped the gun and had gone ahead and done work that they had just had a conversation over. He was not aware his contractor was gonna go ahead and get it done over the weekend. So I acknowledge him and respect the fact that he came into my office to talk about a whole different property and said, oh, by the way, this is what's happened down here on 5 Mason, and I wanted you to be aware of it. And at that point, we said, okay, all work must stop, because none of that was approved. And the work, for the most part, did stop until, again, here in the last, I'm gonna roughly say 3 weeks, when painting work commenced again, and we then called in again that all that had to stop. It looks like they continued finishing up the painting, which again, that had not been approved by this board. Under an administrative process, just under your guidelines, so that you're aware of this requirement, because it was already painted before the
Right.
foundation work,
Right.
that would have been approved administratively by my office regardless. But again, we had asked for everything just to stop until you get this entire matter before you for review.
Right, and the only reason we can allow him to paint it now is because it was previously painted.
Correct.
Okay,
The foundation.
correct, right.
What about the door?
The back door
In
is
the
a
back
different
of the
issue, and
house.
again, part of that comes to, under our guidelines, and that was in place before. And so if it's not viewed from the exterior, the rear exterior, if it's not viewed from a side street or front street or back street, and this is not, then that really does not fall under your purview for review. So we're just making you aware, because part of this application, while it's coming in, we're trying to get everything at least covered under one application, and let's all make sure we're clear what work is happening, and we get them to walk away okay with us and get the work done.
Right, okay.
So-
I
So,
would just like to say that, going back to your original question, yes, some of this was done when maybe it shouldn't have, and it isn't after the fact, but we have no control over how that's handled, whether they be fined or whatever. Our purview is to approve the new materials, correct?
Correct.
So, it comes down to, and since he's already taken the poles and the railing down, he's got to replace them. So, are the materials that he is proposing to replace them with acceptable?
do they match the existing rail and spindles?
With the rails, we're gonna have to have custom, made, so they can be wood, you just can't buy them. I've tried, but, they're gonna have to be custom made. But it's not that many, and that's why we're only gonna do the one section. The structural columns, they're readily available. You know,
Correct.
You can get them anywhere.
All right,
As
but,
far as the stop work, yeah, they did say to stop work, but I misunderstood. I didn't realize that you couldn't paint the foundation. So, because years in past, you know, I would talk to like Larry Dyree and then the guy behind me. And I talked to them about painting. They would just go, "Yeah, we don't care about the paint," you know, and they'd act like that. And then, so I just thought, you know, just painting this foundation. So it wasn't that I was trying to be malicious about it. I just thought it was okay to paint it.
But
well, it was
Now I know
painted.
better.
there
But
have been
yours was
plenty of
painted.
notices regarding the updated historic guidelines, and ignorance of the law is not
Well,
an
actually,
excuse.
your notices have to be, you have to mail to everybody.
They are mailed
I
in
don't,
the,
we never received them, but
utility
I don't want to
bills,
get into,
correct.
there's no need
The
to get
fact
into
that they're
that.
new.
I now know to research it before, but it's easy now because I thoroughly understand, you know, what the
There's-
guidelines are. And if
Okay.
I don't, I always now go down and talk to Tracy.
The first time I was incarcerated, a policeman told me ignorance of the law is no excuse. And I was doing 80 miles an hour in a 25-mile zone, okay? So, being that said, I mean, you have to ask questions to the right people, and the right people are sitting right there in the chair, which you've been in there before. So all I can do, I don't think we have a fine schedule for that, do we?
Well, and that's not our purview,
Yes, it is.
as to whether or not they're fined.
Again, that's gonna be under the zoning administrator's responsibilities. Again, we did not actually move forward with issuing the formal notice of stop work order. We were trying to work cooperatively and effectively with this property owner. And so I will take that on the chin, that we should have done the violation notice properly, and we did not. So no, I am not in a position I can impose fines at this point in time.
So now we have to decide if he can put the new materials up. I have a question on the height of the porch. Does that mean zoning that he doesn't require railing?
No, he does.
We actually,
Excuse me, sir.
I'm going to go through what needs to be approved, but to answer your question, yes.
that's what I
Actually,
was-
Katie asked Jeb, and he said as long as it's only that portion of the porch of the existing, it would be okay. Isn't that what he said?
But he's only gonna put a railing by the stairs.
Exactly. So if it, even if it doesn't meet code, no, it's there.
Existing railing,
Is there.
See, that's this picture.
Okay, that's not what I understood. I thought you had taken it all.
No.
yesterday.
That's the only part that's gonna replace is where the.
Okay, so here's what needs to be done, I guess the after-the-fact approval,
Packet,
however you all would like to handle that.
what we passed there.
And then for the totally new work, is replace the existing front wood flooring with composite decking. You can rule on that, or you can also motion on that, replacing the existing front wood columns with structural composite columns. And then 3 is what you're talking about, is installing the new wood railing to match the existing railing in the area where the masonry steps were removed. Has that railing already been installed or no?
No, I didn't touch it.
Okay.
Believe me, I s-
And then adding the back door, which we put that on there so we would have a trail of updates to this home.
Are you gonna replace all the columns or just the ones that are damaged?
Well, they're all splitting.
So
I think
all
it's,
of the existing columns will
four
be
of them.
replaced. And if you do the fencing, you're gonna take the old fencing that's there off and just put fencing on the stairs.
That's it, you mean railing?
Railing, I mean railing.
He's just putting up of that portion.
Oh, where the stairs
Where
used
the
to be,
stairs.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
to match the existing ones.
Yes, ma'am.
And that he's proposing for wood.
yes.
Okay,
I would,
let me just address this problem, okay? Since we've had a problem, I would like to see a sample of the railing that he's gonna replace and the pickets. And they can bring them to your office, Katie? If that's okay with you?
So I guess, are you trying to ensure that what he provides us matches the existing,
Correct,
that is still remaining on the porch?
correct.
yeah, I don't see a picture of
I don't
the
either.
type of railing.
No, there is no picture, that's why.
Okay,
Okay, will you do that?
yeah, we need to see that. The columns, if they're all identical to what's up there,
Yeah.
I think that's
The same diameter column,
Yeah,
okay?
just
Uh,
composite.
Could you bring a cut sheet to Katie's office?
yeah.
Or Tracy? Tracy, will you?
We're writing it down.
Okay.
This is all to be approved administratively.
You can administratively approve the railing and the pickets and the column, rather than hold him up for another month, okay? Now,
Are you saying that, is this for approval of to go back to wood or for composite?
And he said
Composite,
composite, he's not
right.
gonna use wood.
okay, so what you have to do before you proceed with that is give them a cut sheet on the column and a sample of the rail, handrail, and the picket, that's the vertical pieces in there. Got that?
Yes.
Okay, do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And,
Now, on the floor, I have no problem making a motion to approve the
Okay,
new
now,
deck.
one more question.
I have another question too.
Okay, good. On the stairways that are existing in this photograph, is that the existing stairways now?
It is all except that they were painted.
Okay, but that's the existing stairway?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Martha.
I'd just like to know, is there any more work that needs to be done that needs our approval? Or was it all done and finished before coming here?
No, the work that was done without approval was to remove the stairs to the left and painting the foundation. The new work would be to put in a new railing where the old stairs were removed.
Okay.
And then the new work would be to redo the porch floor and the columns and the back door. And
Okay,
Okay, so
that's,
you happy?
yeah.
Okay. Are you happy? I'm happy. You can never be happy. Nope.
I don't know if you remember. Remember?
Yeah, I do. Okay, so,
I will make a motion to
Okay.
approve
go ahead.
the composite decking and the columns and the railings, if they meet the guidelines, can be approved administratively at that point. Is that correct?
He's changing why they were coming to you in the first place is because he's changing material on the columns from wood to composite.
Right, but if he brings us
The cut sheet. So
And it
you're
meets-
approving composite, but they just need the cut sheet.
Everything, but he has to bring you the cut sheet and sample the handrail and the picket.
I got it.
Yeah,
So
we got
shape, everything's the same. And
Railings and
you know what I'm talking
And
about.
the railings
Okay.
duplicate the existing.
Got it. And you're okay for it not to be wood, but to be composite?
Correct.
Got it.
Now, is that gonna look strange to have part railing composite and part railing?
No. He knows it's wood. He knows he has to bring a sample to Tracy and Katie. It's, what we're talking about now is the floor, correct? Okay,
Those are conditions, yeah.
right.
So my
I guess,
motion is to approve the decking material
can I have my
for the
packet?
application.
That my packet that I gave her.
The railing and the posts will be approved if he brings the cut sheet to you and they meet the requirements that we've discussed. That can be done administratively later.
And again, we still have some other items to
I
approve
think-
that you're approving here today. So the painting that's occurred on the foundation and the steps.
I just think it's,
Painting, we can't do anyway.
I'm
It's,
just-
it's
We're
done.
trying to get all of
Right.
the
Well-
approvals
Gotcha.
under one blanket
All right.
vote. So we're asking you to affirm that work.
The painting is approved because it was already a painted structure,
Thank you.
I
and
think so, I mean,
we can't undo the paint.
Now, the door is another story.
The door is also in this. The door is in this.
Right,
vote.
are we
Well-
approving this door?
Yep,
Okay, because it's on the back and we can't see it.
right.
Okay,
So again, we're asking, just so we only have one certificate of appropriateness on this property versus 2 or 3.
Right.
do you want me to reword
I
that?
want to roll it all into one document.
Okay.
That's all
Okay,
we're
so we
asking.
just have to add the door
Yep,
and the painting of the foundation to the certificate of appropriateness,
To my motion.
to her motion.
yes, and adding that door on the rear.
Correct.
Got it.
Okay.
Make the
well,
motion.
you know, you said it's been painted, you can't undo it, but I believe about 8 years ago, there was Kelly's, there was the hotel, one-room hotel that painted theirs, and they had to remove the paint. And so I'm just saying that there are times when that's something, because one
But
thing
he
about
wouldn't
this
have been
is,
in-
pardon me?
No, go ahead, go ahead.
The thing about, you know, the pictures that I see of that brick that must have been painted reds, and I can't see how much white is in between, if any, but,
I can't either.
so it gives one the impression that maybe there was the idea of a faux brick thing, even though, I mean, I'm not using the right word, but they were trying to still make it look like red brick. Whereas this blue here, it's nowhere near that, and, but I don't know how to really turn that into something that represents a violation or anything,
But
so
he
I'll just
didn't.
pass on that. What?
He didn't violate anything
No.
because he painted something that was
Already painted, and the color really, that color or the impression of the color doesn't really matter, that's all, okay. I just, because we're trying to keep, we're trying to keep a historic look in the historic district, and that's a little bit of step away from that,
I agree,
but
Color
so be it,
is-
you know? Okay,
Okay.
that's all I can say, is that I don't have a grounds for really,
Well,
it was already painted, it's painted,
it was painted though.
different color,
That's the only reason that
But
we're
we
allowing
didn't-
it. It's because it was painted
yeah.
red.
And we don't say it has to be painted the same
Right,
color, so,
exactly.
okay, fair enough.
Are you happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. All right. You made the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, and so ordered. Proceed, and make sure that you get knowledge from these two ladies that they'll keep you straight.
Yes,
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you.
And can I make one last comment? The argument that you didn't know the requirements is void because you've been here before for other violations. And you know you were supposed to find out ahead of time.
I think you're confusing that with everything happening at the same time. You might want to look at your time frame. And secondly, I could argue that other violation if you want to go there. So to be
But you
ignorant
know
of
there
it,
are guidelines.
in the last 3 or 4 months, I've spoken with Tracy and Katie numerous times to the point now I do understand what the guidelines are. So don't assume things happened and I kept doing things. Everything happened at the same time. It's not just continuing,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Good
we,
luck.
we're now moving along to 609
Okay.
Monroe Avenue.
609 Monroe, Ken Stipe, site.
Yep. The applicant is seeking to replace 18 of the existing windows on the side, back, and upper level, and to repair or update the 4 original windows on the front of the 2-story single-family dwelling. And as before, the property is a legal conforming use, and this application is in compliance with the zoning ordinance. Any property within the historic district overlay is required to meet the historic district guidelines. And then I again listed the historic district overlay design guidelines sections. And as before, I listed per section 7 to see if the applicant has provided enough documentation to prove the existing windows could not be repaired or replaced in kind. And Mr. Sipe had a nice packet that he gave us with all of the window conditions and everything that was included within the agenda packet.
Well,
And he is here if you
yeah.
Have
Could you
questions.
come forward, please, sir? And tell us who the manufacturer of the windows are and who's doing the installation.
It's Joyce Manufacturing Company out of Ohio. And it's a contractor from Virginia Beach, Rick Coretta.
We're doing 1/1, right?
Yes. That's what's there now.
That's what you have existing now, is 1/1s? Okay,
So we're going to keep the look.
correct.
And the exterior
No,
sills
The
will
frame.
remain?
the frame,
They're
5-inch frames.
You're
yes.
just replacing the window, not the sills or the frame.
That's correct.
Okay. Since do you have a staff report? Can you read me your staff report? Mine's all,
Sure, here. Oh, well, no, I don't have that one. Actually, I don't have that one. I mean,
I can't find it. Can you just read me yours?
Sure. It's
Thank
what I
you.
just read to you. Yep.
Mine's a mess.
yeah, I just,
The applicant is seeking to replace 18 of the existing windows on the side, back, and upper level, and to repair or update the 4 original windows on the front of the 2-story single-family dwelling. And he's got a Phase 1 and Phase 2 that was included in the packet, which I held up. That-
Okay. Can you tell me what your recommendations were?
they're not in there.
Sure.
They don't have them.
They don't have,
Staff is requesting the Historic District Review Board to review the application and determine if the applicant provided enough documentation to prove the existing windows could not be repaired or replaced in kind per Section 7 in the Historic District Overlay Design Guidelines, and if work proposed is in keeping with the guidelines of the Historic District.
so. Katie, what's the question on the windows?
We think, actually, he has done a great application to you, both in his documentation showing you the size, that we're keeping the existing openings. I think the materials are appropriate. He is looking to retain the existing sashes and sills and the casings associated with this. It's the window replacement, and he's keeping the same 1/1 painting structure. So I think he is fully in compliance with the guidelines, but we wanted you to
Approve the
do
material.
your
My-
review of that to reach that conclusion.
My own reading of this was that it was certainly a better than average application in terms of sensitivity to the design requirements.
And I appreciate the amount of time he did to actually give us all the dimensional information as we requested. This is a great application during your forms.
I think since he's just replacing the windows, he's keeping the existing historical frames
And sill.
and sill, and there's no munions in the window, that it's pretty straightforward. I make a motion that we approve the windows.
That's second.
for application.
Okay, it's been duly motioned and second that we give you approval for your window replacement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, sir. You may proceed.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's not them.
Okay, while Katie is getting Miss Dowdy on the phone, I will go through the staff report. This is for 102 Madison Avenue. Miss Dowdy, Stephanie.
Hello.
Hi, Ms. Dowdy.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Tell her.
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes,
Good.
I can. I'm traveling, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, I'm sitting still.
Okay, so as stated, this is for 102 Madison Avenue, and the applicant is seeking to replace the front porch wood tongue and groove flooring and wood steps with AZAC TimberTech tongue and groove porch flooring. We have included everything that she included in her packet, the damage. I've included in the materials is the TimberTech AZAC porch flooring. The staff analysis is the property is a legal conforming use and this application is in compliance with the zoning ordinance. And again, any property within the historic district overlay is required to meet the historic district guidelines, which are superimposed on the underlining zoning district regulations. Then you will see the historic district overlay design guidelines, which go along with this agenda item, and then the staff recommendation. Staff is requesting the Historic District Review Board to review the application and determine if the applicant provided enough documentation to prove the existing front porch flooring and steps could not be repaired or replaced in kind per Section 7 in the Historic District Overlay Design Guidelines, and if work proposed is in keeping with the guidelines of the Historic District.
Did you hear all that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Okay, so tell me why you can't repair your flooring.
Sure. So we purchased the home in October of 2020, and at the time when we purchased it, we had noticed some patchwork that had been done, and we knew it would need to be addressed. So we've been doing typical repair, replace boards to try to get us as far as we could. We do believe we're at a replacement regardless of material, so I think we're there no matter what the material. We got some contractors to come out and look. From the feedback we had, and this is just based on feedback, it was that we are north facing and it is shaded. So the lifespan of what we would be using is going to be shorter just due to the marine environment. It is very wet. So that's why we would like to use the alternate material. We don't want to use it on any of the columns, any of the railings. The masonry we want to keep intact. We would like to keep everything else as much as possible. It's just the wear on the porch and steps themselves. We would love to use a different material if it's possible.
It is possible.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
Oh, I make a motion that we accept the application to replace the porch floor and steps with composite, AZAC composite material.
Okay,
I
did you hear
second.
that?
Yes.
Need a second?
For
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You may do it. Help yourself.
All right. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, I hope you stop and talk I'm not driving, talk. You can't do that.
Oh, no, I'm not driving. I'm in a hotel room.
Oh, good, good.
Yep, I'm in a hotel. Thank you so very much.
You're more than welcome.
All right, have a great day.
You too.
I'm tag teaming in. So for this application, which is filed by the Liquor Distillation Society LLC, DBA Derek Kinsey and Penelope Lamb, it's for 1 Fig Street. They have been before you before, so they are back again because we've had some additional work progress on this property. In particular, they acquired the side lot that was needed for what we felt was needed for the real operations being proposed for a restaurant, and that lot would really be essential to that operation. They have now done the subdivision. I've approved that. That's all been recorded. And they've come back now with how that large, now new parcel gets combined with the building itself and how an addition needs to happen on the property. So they're seeking to construct a 30.1 foot by 55.3 foot, two-story addition, a total of 3,300 square feet on the west rear side of the existing commercial building. They've now provided revised elevation drawings with this addition and floor plans for both the first and second floors. And they've clearly identified the proposed addition on the plans that they provided to us, so you can identify what's the existing construction versus the new items being proposed. The addition on the first floor will be utilized for the public bathroom, storage, cooler, and freezer space adjacent to the kitchen area, and an office and stairwell leading to the second story. And the addition on the second story will be 4 residential units with individual bathrooms for each unit. The unit size from approximately 150 square feet to 198 square feet, and they'll have some storage space up there as well. They have not provided any architectural drawings to show the proposed final look of the building with the addition and how the addition will be distinguished in appearance from the historic structure itself, but how it also be compatible with the structure. In addition, while reviewing the new elevation plans dated March 6 of 2023, there are some modifications to what had been previously submitted and approved by this board from your plans that we received back in July of 2022, which you took up at your August meeting in 2022. And those changes are as follows: what we approved in green, and we showed their change in plans in red. I think they all showed up that way, I hope, on your copies.
Mine's in black and white.
No, in writing, not on the plans themselves, in writing in the staff report, green and red.
Mine's all black and white.
Okay, then let me read through this. So, what was approved in green, it reads, remove non-original door and frame, replace with new Marvin Ultimate Commercial doors and existing opening, remove existing fixed glazing and transoms, provide new Marvin Ultimate frame windows and existing opening to match existing, repair and replace missing decorative coping tiles as required. Then what changed in the new set of plans you received reads, remove existing window frame and brick veneer, replace with Conair fixed framing system. So that section in red is the difference from what you had seen last year to what's before you today. And then under the east elevation open bay infill, again, what we approved last year was infill existing original open bay with Conair fixed framing system for spandrel glazing system, no door. What is proposed new and what has changed is an infill existing original open bay with Conair fixed framing system with a door. So I'll stop there for a minute, make sure you're okay and understand where we are.
Yeah, I don't have the original pictures of each elevation, so.
They were the last pages.
Okay. So this is,
the,
yeah, I just want to go back and look at the changes.
this is the new.
We have given you the materials list in the staff report, and it's in their documentation as well. I won't go through and read all those, but they are present for you. So I did want to just frame the conversation a little bit. So the property is a legal conforming lot. Previously, the town has approved a conditional use permit on January 19th of 2017 for 1 single dwelling unit on the second floor above first floor commercial use in the commercial 2 zoning district. Based upon their drawings, they've indicated there will be 4 residential units on the second floor. Therefore, the applicant has filed with our office a conditional use permit application, and we are now moving that through the public hearing process. It will be before the Planning Commission on May 2nd, 2023, and to the Town Council for their public hearing on May 18th, 2023, for the 3 additional single-family dwelling units on the second floor. And the applicant has also provided 4 parking spaces on the lot to be associated with the 4 residential units. Additionally, the town has also approved a variance on this property in January 5 of 2017, providing full relief of the off-street parking requirements associated with a restaurant commercial use on the first floor. This approval, while granted to a different owner of the property, is affixed to the property and is granted to the current owners of this property since the commercial use they are proposing, a restaurant, is the same as when the Board of Zoning Appeals heard this matter and issued the variance. So we are requesting that any votes that the HDRB may consider on this application indicate that it is conditional upon the applicant receiving affirmative approval from Town Council on the conditional use permit application for the additional 3 residential units on the second floor. As always, you have the full review powers here and to ensure it is in compliance with our historic district guidelines. We did want to talk just briefly, and this is not a conversation that's coming up for the first time. I've had this with the applicant, so I just wanted to touch upon it here. We have been concerned with this project because we have taken a leap of faith and effort with our applicant in advancing certain approvals along the way. As you recall, we've given them demolition approval early on in advance of having a full renovation and restoration plan from them.
Correct.
Part of that was done to ensure that they could know the full scope of the remediation work that needed to happen with their abatement issues. And so we have continued to work in good faith, and for a variety of reasons, there have been some challenges to moving their calendar forward appropriately. They have now changed who their general contractor is. I don't think we really wish to go into the details behind that decision, but it was a decision they felt they needed to make, and we're moving forward with that. But we wanted to ensure that they're aware of our concern from the town's perspective, that this has been exposed. There's been a lot of demolition work that's occurred on the property. The roof is off, the walls are open in a fair amount of space, and it's fairly exposed at the moment. And we are concerned that we have the right powers provided to put in place assistance to help ensure compliance with getting this building restored. And so as part of what I'm asking in my staff report that I included for you, that you potentially consider providing some authorization to me if it should be necessary down the road to potentially require the applicant to give us a performance bond in a certain dollar amount up to $250,000 if we don't see that progress continues to advance forward, because that has been our concern at this point. And at this point, they've not been able to even to provide a building permit application to us because we were waiting on the acquisition of the additional lot, the addition being designed and moving forward, and that's now before you this evening for your consideration. But I just wanted to put that out to you, that we are looking to have that conversation with you today to see if you would provide that authorization to me to move that forward.
I agree with everything but the dollar amount. I did some research, and the roof that they're going to put on is probably going to cost $500,000 to $700,000. Okay, the glass, instead of plexiglass, it's going to be real glass.
Well, so maybe that needs to be a conversation we have with the applicant directly and talk about their project as a whole. So I'd like to provide them that opportunity to come stand at the podium and have this open this conversation with you.
I'll be happy to do it anyway. I want to make a serious objection to the $250,000.
And I don't really want that to be the primary focus of our conversation tonight,
We're
is that
not- it
performance
won't.
bond or the amount of the performance bond. I really want to focus on their application for the addition and how that ties into the main building. And then we can focus on, should we look to put in place some measures or provide to me some measures to ensure that we get conformance here. So.
I would like to see full elevation drawings before I make any decision.
So again, I think
With the addition.
Sure. So I'm going to step out of the way and let the applicant step forward, and Penelope and Derek are both here.
Of each side?
looking at the sides of the addition sheet and then I go to the back. Because it got me confused too. 'Cause that's an elevation right there,
No,
new. There should be another. You're messy.
mine's on
You're messy.
back, and I am messy.
But they are there.
So all
Okay.
4 apartments are gonna be in the new addition?
No.
No.
We only extended. so
Very,
it only-
very little, actually.
Yeah, it goes on top of the roof, so there was
'Cause
only enough.
That's not shown. The second floor is not shown.
It's this, right here.
And
Yeah,
this is the second floor
This is the second floor right here.
of the
So
addition.
it allowed us to add bathrooms to each room, and then these are just the two extra rooms.
So this is Sixth Street,
Yep, that's Big Street, this is the addition right here.
and that's Mason.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
I was surprised at the parking situation. I remember a conversation about, wouldn't it be nice to be able to provide off-street parking when we granted the ability to not have off-street parking? And at that time, it was said, well, if we can get the lot next door, we can do that. But your lot next door is now going for parking for the apartments, not for customers.
Right.
You're still gonna have a restaurant, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Can I-
exactly. Everything else stays the same.
Everything.
I mean, not to stop your conversation on that, but that's a decision that was issued prior to not even
Right.
to these applicants, but to the prior property owner.
I truly do understand that. However,
Variance on the parking lot.
however, it's confusing because now we're looking at
That's why we
two
purchased
different
it.
drawings. One is the apartment and one is the front of the restaurant.
We can get
So, I
you
mean-
more, no, I mean, I'm sorry, what was your concern on the confusion on the drawings? What's that one?
Yeah, you have the front, you have the side view of what it's gonna look like from
What are
Mason
we
Avenue.
Actually supposed to vote on.
Hang on. I think they're trying to answer questions, so
Yeah.
Tom has put out a question trying to understand, and I think they're trying to answer that one.
Yes, sir, that's what I was trying to do.
Okay, you are
Well-
still, we approved the building, the original structure for a restaurant, correct?
Correct.
Okay, you're still proceeding with that.
Yes, sir, as fast as we
Okay.
can.
Now, what you're doing is you're asking for the apartment house that's in the back.
No.
And the top.
So
It's-
we had already gotten a conditional use permit for one residential unit on the top floor
Right.
We're
that
just
is
trying to change.
existing. So when we started playing with it, what is one of the largest problems we have in Cape Charles is enough housing for our employees. So what we did is we turned it into 4 different units that employees can live in upstairs. So we didn't have enough room to make them like nice, so we just literally added 2 rooms off the back of the building
Okay,
that sit on top of the walk-in coolers.
And then we
everything
provided a
else.
parking space for each one of those units.
right, because somewhere I saw parking spaces in the rear of the building.
Yes.
Correct.
On here.
Four.
The four.
For the
For the-
apartment.
One for
Four
each
units,
residential unit.
4 units,
Okay.
1 each.
Okay,
Yes,
but
sir.
not for the restaurant.
No, sir.
No.
Okay, cool, all right.
So,
So the apartments are gonna be long-term rentals?
Residential,
See-
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, seasonal with employees,
And
whatever we're
listen,
doing.
so many
Yeah.
I know,
questions.
I know, I'm
To
just-
distract you guys, you guys need to
Yeah.
focus on historic district review.
So we're just
Can I-
right now considering the addition,
The addition,
Yes.
yes.
That's
And
it.
how-
And the changes from the prior approval that you gave us on their architectural plan to the additional changes.
That's the only issue.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you
So
go.
what we did is when we did the addition, it's not to look anything like the brick. So it's not brick, it's a
Vertical.
vertical wood paneling. It's actually very nice looking. Yeah.
Go ahead, Michael.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
okay, this is not our first visit, so,
Yes.
everything's going along well, and I know you appreciate the architectural value of the Kellogg building.
Yes, sir.
And so, I think in all of the town, it'd be hard to find any more authentic expression of that. So what concerns me is already expressed here, that the applicant has not provided any architectural drawings to show what this final thing's going to look like. In other words, any distortion that might take place of that original Kellogg building could be affected by this. So I think it's critically important to have those drawings, and is it asking too much to defer until we can get them? That's,
And just so we're clarified, we're talking renderings, some renderings of what the addition will look like affixed to this building.
right.
Because we do have elevation drawings that
Right.
have been provided to us, and that's what's in your
But you're gonna-
packets, but we
you're
don't
gonna-
have the renderings to really show what that physical addition will look like.
Right, and then a perceptual effect of that physical, and it's, you've said so, right? All I'm doing is saying that paragraph is all important, and from my perspective.
I agree with you. The Kellogg building originally, as I remember it, but my memory's fading,
was
but it
built
had a
1910.
roof cap, had cap on the roof. Now, that's what Michael's talking about, that it has to be restored.
Yeah, we saved it. All those caps we
All
still
those
have.
caps we still have, and we're trying to
Okay.
find where we can have more made.
There you
But
go.
we did not change what's
Nothing.
there now.
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't put that on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, those are the things that Michael's concerned with, and so am
Well,
I, and so is Kathy, and so are the staff.
Yeah.
That it's restored to its original.
We want it to look exactly
that-
like the front.
So
No.
the front of the building is gonna look great. We
Exactly.
tried to make that bay look exactly like the rest of the building. Because we had talked about that before, that we were gonna put the windows in.
Exactly. Right.
And then when we
Just
got,
need to see it on paper.
Yeah,
well, the front of the building, the renderings
No,
were
no,
there.
the full architectural.
She wants to,
spot. Yeah, that's the only thing that changed was all glass went to that.
I mean, this is,
If that's asking too much, just tell me, but, I mean,
because this doesn't show any of the roof details or anything. It's just it doesn't
Nothing
show
changes
this.
on the front building. Nothing changes on the front building for the roof or anything. This is exactly, it changes the same. All we've done is put a door here, and we changed and put a door there.
But how about the new addition?
The new addition
It's all in
is
the, it's all in the back.
Is all in the
I
back.
know, but it,
On the, so it's right. Yep.
not visible from the street?
yeah, Mason it is.
Right here it is. This is what it looks like. This
Right.
is wood paneling.
you wouldn't know. from
Wood
this
paneling?
drawing.
That's right.
I mean, I actually thought it was
That's
brick,
right.
but
That's fine. Whatever they want.
I didn't have my.
So I will press upon it, and yes, I've indicated, I think the renderings would help us see it, visualize this, and give us some assurities as to what this final product will look like. And I think that's a big part of what this board is responsible for doing, is this is a very significant structure in our community. And we have seen their drawings once before for the original building and how that would be restored, and we were good with that. Well, there's been some tweaks to that, which we've commented on. I think just seeing what this addition will look like, because it's now gonna be an addition that you can see visually from the street. Is, yes, it's on its own lot, it's on the adjacent lot, but that's a lot that is wholly visual from Mason.
Correct.
So that's why we felt seeing the addition and how those materials play together with the brick is important for you. That's why we've asked for that. There is some time sensitivity to this application as well, because we would like them to be able to start progressing on work to actually get the roof put back on, to get the walls put up. There's a whole number of things that we would like to see them proceed with. So I'm hoping we can somehow craft a motion today, if that's where we are, so that we can still give them some approvals to start moving forward, so they can get their building drawings, their building plans drawn and submitted to the town, to start pulling a building permit to do this work.
Well,
But
correct me if we're wrong. The original structure, not the addition, okay, the original structure, didn't we give approval for the roof and the windows?
yes,
Yes.
Yes, we did. It's just they have held off getting the full set of building plans done until the addition issue was resolved. So it's a comprehensive set of building plans coming into the office.
However, right, so, but since you have approval, we already approved the roof and the front of the building, except for the
new door.
new door, correct?
Correct.
So,
We're just talking about the addition now.
Correct.
and
So
the
now you're
perceptual effect that would have on seeing
correct,
this as a Spanish
exactly,
colony.
exactly.
So,
That's all.
and they can speak further about this, but again, I think the idea along the way was trying to just get to one set of building plans, and it's sounds like
But
you may want them to move forward with at least what we've approved so far, and the.
We're
building
trying to move forward to help them cover up that building,
Yes.
okay? And if you just bear with us, that's
But-
our objective.
I have like a migraine, so that's why I'm just gonna sit down and just,
I mean, you know where I live, right?
I know.
I mean, we're trying to help you all we can, but you can understand our
Right, I
Point.
totally understand, and I think what's happened is we're all on the same page. We're just
correct.
taking it
yeah,
Correct.
I mean, and
Yeah.
Yeah, the
That-
building is.
But you see now, what we have now is a little bit of iodine or bad taste in our mouth because the building's been sitting there.
So do we.
And yeah, I'm sure. So we all agree and we're all on the same page that we're unhappy because the building's been set, you're unhappy because it's set, and we all want to get it to move.
We
All right?
also need to have the
Right.
pictures for our record.
Okay.
If something changes, we can go back and reference that. Like
And
the
the
Hotel Cape Charles.
you know, if I'm
The windows, right.
If I'm putting words in your mouth, tell me, but the staff analysis provided no help in terms of however, or a way forward, no way out of this conundrum of having to do with not having the architectural drawings. So it was like, it's kind of a, we can't go forward until we just, and if that's, again, if that's gonna cause too much of a problem, then
So I think, stand up to the microphone, I may have a
there's
potential
no.
offer. So I think, because we have given them prior approval on the main portion of the building, not the addition, but the main portion of the
Correct.
building. So if you are comfortable with that, then we will advise them that we would like them to move forward with getting a building permit
For the roof.
based upon building plans that they need to draw up for the original portion of the building,
That's fine.
and move that forward ASAP.
Yes,
Because we would
yes.
like that work to start moving
Wonderful.
forward.
Very good.
And if we can require, if it's doable, and that's to you and your contractor and your architect, if within the next 15 to 30 days, can we get architectural rendering showing the addition back into this office, we will get you on the May calendar
That's all we
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
We want to be able to
so that we
hold
can sign off on the
his
whole
feet to the
addition.
fire and get it done. We're trying to help you all we can.
No, and I do think with us, we're just as frustrated as you are that
I'm
we're
sure
in this
you are.
position. So this is John Zacharias. He is from Delaware, the great state of Delaware that I'm from, and John is an expert renovator. And so we've been talking to John, being like, where did this go wrong? Where did this blow up? And I think we're getting a really good picture of that now. But I walked into Katie's office and said, I gotta get a roof on this building.
Oh, I know. It really is, and it's deteriorating. I have been in the building trade for 60 years.
Yeah.
And it's deteriorating every time it rains.
Now, I think the other reason that we had the renovation plans too is because of the engineering, because one of the brick walls is bulging.
Correct.
And you were gonna replace that.
Yes.
You were going, right.
And that's what, when we started cutting holes in it to go into the new addition,
Right.
that's when we were fixing all that.
So, I think Katie came up with the solution, which she always does, that if you would just work with us, we'll work with you.
Okay. Perfect.
And that's
So-
I
about
just wanna
all
get a
we can
roof.
do.
We've been in a situation before where we have approved something like this, and then in the end, the owner changed a minute detail,
And we didn't catch
and we
it.
didn't catch it.
Okay,
until
well, we
the
don't want to
end.
do that. We're
No,
trying to
no,
keep the
no.
building
Right,
in.
that's
So that's why the drawings.
Yeah, we can get
Yeah,
those.
and that's why everybody, like Katie said up front, it's all open. There's nothing hiding.
Right, so, but it also has to be
You'll
cost.
be never, you'll be.
Oh, exactly.
You'll be full
Yeah.
right told.
Exactly.
As I'm sitting here tonight, I
Oh.
know. But I
Yeah.
mean, you'll be abreast of it. Plus, I'd
Exactly.
like to have
We-
an annual inspections
people
while the
say.
construction's going on.
Right.
Okay, so
And I
everything's
live right
good.
down the street.
That was that.
That sounds like multiple years. Oh, my God.
On another note, Katie, do you want our input on the bond issue?
Yes.
I think that's appropriate to have some sort of a bond. We've already seen one,
So can the former contractor pay that bond? Just kidding.
no,
Just
I'm
kidding.
saying
So again,
anything
we're not
can
saying it's
happen.
being
People go
imposed
out
or-
of business,
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean, we get it.
Big.
every building I ever built, I had to have a bond.
Yeah, I
And-
understand that.
Even VDOT makes you do
That's
it.
not that's not our purview, is it?
Yeah,
No,
well,
but she asked,
she is.
Yeah.
And see, in the thing
Okay.
here, it says 250, and I think that's too little.
well, that's,
Do you
So,
think it should be a different number, then definitely indicate that tonight? And again, it's only up to a certain dollar amount, and so that's all we're trying to do. And I'm not saying we are opposing the bond, but we want to at least have the mechanism in place, that if we should feel a need for it, we can move forward.
I think in the past history that, not your fault, not blaming you or you, the new contractor, but I think that looking at what we've seen in the past, I think it should set a precedent that we have to change to a subscribed bond for the building.
Well, this was a very unique project.
Yes.
In terms of the amount of demolition work that needed to occur in order to bring it back to a proper restoration. And we took I'm not saying we didn't take a gamble, we did. We took a step out with them in good faith. I still think they are operating in good faith. We just need to now put in place some measures that if,
I
through no
agree.
fault of their own, things should move in a different
I
direction. We
agree.
have the protections in place to bring this building back at least to the minimum so that we're back to a status quo with a roof and walls and it's back to being the
And
Kellogg
the
building we
glass,
could all
the
recognize.
glass in the roof, just to make it weather tight, and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
but if you do the roof, you want to do the roof on the addition too.
Yes.
So you need to have it all approved.
We just need to start.
So I think we've got a plan. So again, if I can help frame that into a
If-
motion for you?
If you could bring that into a motion, but I still am gonna hold my line of $500,000 instead of 250.
And we can put
Yeah,
that
there's
in
no-
if
I have
that's
no
you. And
objection to
again,
that.
Amended.
it
there?
is a recommendation. That's it.
that- I
I'll
mean-
make the motion if you help me.
Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Um,
So again, you would be proposing to move that they can move forward with submitting building plans for the original portion of the building
Right.
as previously approved by this
Right.
body, with the two modifications we noted in tonight's application staff report,
Right.
and allow them to move forward applying for that building permit specifically for the roof and any other improvements associated with
To
that
make the
necessary,
building watertight.
right? And then secondly, to require them to come back to this board with architectural renderings of the addition to the original structure, preferably within 1 month, but as soon as possible, and we will get that on the next available calendar
Correct,
for review and consideration of the addition.
correct.
So moved.
And then lastly, to provide authorization to the zoning administrator to potentially require a performance surety bond up to an amount not to exceed $500,000.
Correct.
We're giving you authorization?
Yes.
I didn't realize we had that authority.
Oh, we
Yeah,
are,
we
we
do.
are providing that as part of your vote this evening.
It's part of our packet.
And again, that would only be employed if certain building performance progress is not immediately provided by the property owner, including evidence of a general contractor secured to the project and submission of completed building plans to the building department and project calendar with completion of addition and full renovation.
Could you explain to me then what your interpretation of when you would enforce this bond?
So again, if we didn't see in the next 30 days that we had a contractor on board with them and identified that we didn't see a timeline when the building plans would be coming in to apply for the building permit for the roof materials, and if we didn't see that we were confirmed that we were getting architectural renderings within the timeline we just outlined, I would consider those steps not moving us forward.
Okay, so for my being a hardhead, would you say 30 days?
It could be 30 days. I'm not going to be a hard line on 30 days. It could be 45 days. Again, we recognize we are dealing with other professional calendars that are committed.
I agree with you 100%,
Yes.
but the item that we're talking about is the Kellogg building.
Yes.
Okay, so would you say 30 to 45 days?
We'd like to
Okay.
see a building plan submitted to our office, and we're moving forward with getting the issuance of a building permit. for
30 to
roofing.
45 days, then we will enact the bond.
I think we choose one.
After that time period, am I right?
Right.
Pardon me?
Okay, after that time period.
After the
we-
45 days
so
is
we-
your maximum.
So what you want you want a time schedule,
Correct,
and you want some rendering, conceptual
correct.
rendering.
Within 30 to 45 days.
I have to know that, so.
Yeah, oh, no.
You'll send it,
Yes.
I'll get it, then we can put this in a time schedule.
Exactly.
Then you'll feel more comfortable being in a time schedule on where this can go.
Correct.
Exactly. You got
Is
it.
that good?
You got it.
All right.
So you've made the motion,
I make that motion.
I'll second it, yeah.
okay?
All right, duly made motion and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So, okay, go ahead and start. Your clock is counting.
The problem is, I'd love to do everything, but I have other people involved.
I know, oh, I know.
Yeah, you know that.
I-
I have
hey.
other people involved.
All right, I don't see you anymore.
Hey, yeah, I see you too.
I think that,
Okay.
Anything else?
Okay. Our next one is 408 Randolph Avenue. And the applicant is seeking to demolish the existing 370 square feet contributing accessory structure and construct a new 260 square foot accessory structure. Staff has asked the applicant to provide a full engineering report to support a demolish request. As you will see from the photos, this accessory structure can be seen from Randolph Avenue. At this time, one has not been provided, and the applicant has indicated that he will provide to our office as soon as he receives it from the engineer he retained. In addition, the applicant would like to get a 6-month extension on a certificate of appropriateness approved on September 22nd of 2021 to install a wooden fence on the right and rear side of the property. I don't have any materials for the new shed. If you turn over to page 2, you'll see Randolph Avenue shed pictures, the ones that was provided by the applicant, and the one that was also in our 2018 update to the Cape Charles National Registry. On page 3,
make a motion, yeah.
on page 3, you'll also see another photo. For staff analysis, zoning compliant. The property is a legal conforming use, and this application is in compliance with zoning ordinance. And again, any property within the historic district overlay is required to meet the historic district guidelines, which are superimposed on the underlying zoning district regulations. Again, you will see the historic district overlay design guidelines, which were followed. That's why we asked for an engineering report, because it was in the National Registry. And staff recommendations, while we have included this application in the March agenda packet, staff recognizes that it is incomplete without the engineer's report, and the full analysis of the requirements to consider a demolition of a contributing structure as detailed in Chapter 10 of the guidelines cannot be conducted without the engineering's report. Most likely, this item will need to be tabled at the meeting, but we wanted to give the board the opportunity to meet the applicant in open discussions with him regarding the accessory structure, its condition, and the guidelines regarding demolition.
We have approved demolition of sheds before without engineer report.
They were not contributing structures. This one was actually listed in the historic registry. And they had pictures. That's why I included them within the staff report. They actually took pictures of this, so.
And this is not something you can approve administratively.
No, because you can see it from Randolph.
I mean, you can tell from the pictures, for sure, and I'm sure the engineer's report is going to show that, but I wouldn't have a problem making a motion dependent on the engineer's report.
Right.
And our applicant is here, if you'd like
Yeah.
to talk with him as well.
I am willing to make a motion that he can demolish it if the engineer's report supports that. Yeah. Okay.
Could you tell us Why you want to take the shed down?
It's, for one thing, it's not really in good structural condition. So we got the structural engineering report to give me an idea of, could I repair it or not? It wasn't, and when I met with him, he took pictures and all. You'll see the full report hopefully very soon. I was hoping to get it last week, but I still don't have it yet. But his assessment of the structure was that it was built originally as a temporary structure, not intended to last a long time. The studs are basically 5 feet on center, so it's not good construction. It's a patchwork of, looks like scrap wood in a lot of senses. The siding is different on all the sides. So that's why I'd like to, and it's, as you can see from the pictures, it is, to me, it's an eyesore. I don't like having it on my, people seeing that on my property, and I'd like to replace it with something that is, that looks a lot nicer and is, consistent with the historical feel of the town, the architecture of the town.
So you will have a report coming, but you don't have it now?
Right, yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, the inspection done a week ago Saturday.
when do you think you'll get the report?
Should be any day now.
Okay. I'd like to ask Katie if he gets the report, and when do you want to take this down? I mean, are you in a hurry, or?
I'm not in an immediate hurry. I mean, I'd like to get it done in the near future. I don't have anything lined up. I've been looking at
Yeah, I've
replacement
read,
structures.
the guidelines for demolition is 10.2.1, and it really doesn't give us much leeway as far as taking it down.
So the other thing I saw in the guidelines I had a question about was the definition of contributing structure.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's in they took a picture of it when they did the survey,
Right.
but the guidelines for determining, what's that?
That's what we use for,
Yeah, to say that it was a contributing structure, because it's in the,
because it's in the National Historic Registry.
right, when they did the survey in 2019, they added it to the registry. So that's what I'd like to understand. I don't know what the criteria is to put it in the registry.
That it was there.
It's,
Well, yeah, I mean,
It is
what
historic.
makes it a contributing structure? The guidelines that I saw when I read
When they
through,
did the survey, if the building was there and they felt it was a part of the property, they put it on there. It had nothing to do with how it was constructed.
yes, that's what I figured, and I tried to understand the guidelines in the National Park Service guidance that was referenced in the
Yeah.
historic review guidelines, and it's very kind of broad and vague. There's no, it's subjective to me, so that's, I question whether it really is a contributing structure. I don't even know when,
That's a tougher battle to fight.
I don't know if it was,
I would just get the engineer's report that says it's not structurally sound.
okay.
And with that, you could proceed.
yeah. Once you have that, sir, can we postpone this, Katie, till next month?
Yes.
Or
There is-
we could-
What?
Well,
Well, there's-
my original motion was we could approve it if the engineering report agrees that it's not so.
But you don't have
No.
the report.
I don't have the report.
No, I know, but I'm saying
So
if when
that-
it comes
Subject to
in.
that condition, yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Okay,
The other question I had was about the guidelines, section 2.3. There's a kind of outlining of what can be administrative
So I-
review and what needs historic review
We
board
can do it
approval.
and
next
that's
month.
what I was thinking.
Do it next
And
month.
on page 2-7 and 2-8, there's a paragraph there that says contributing structures, it's only considered a contributing structure if it is on a permanent foundation. And this has no foundation. It doesn't even have footers or anything. It's like a poor
That's why I was.
poor pole barn style just construction. There's no boards on the floor. The studs go right to the dirt. So it's just rotting away into the ground. So from that definition in the guidelines on page 2.7 and 2.8, it doesn't meet the definition of a contributing structure because it doesn't have a foundation.
I would think, but I don't.
There's a difference between, I do believe what they put in there.
Notes in our guidelines too, it's in both in the ordinance and our guidelines, and it says a note, a contributing accessory structure will be treated as a contributing structure only if it is on a permanent foundation, it is of sufficient square footage that a new structure of that type would require a building permit and is not being used as or being considered for accessory dwelling units.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is what we put into our ordinance, and it's also in our guidelines reflected as such, but also in the National Register, when that was updated in 2019, this property got picked up, both in terms of the accessory structure in particular got picked up, the house itself was in it before, but the accessory structure got added. If I'm gonna guess, I think it had significance for two reasons. I think the size of the structure itself, and some of the window elements were unique to this property. And I think that's why it may have been recorded and picked up under the historic register at that point in time. So I personally don't feel that you should provide authorization to me without yourselves looking at the engineer's report.
I want to, that's why I asked you, can we postpone this till next month?
Yes, and that's exactly what we thought would be the case today.
Okay.
We would not have it in time. We put it on the off chance that report might have come in on
Right,
time.
okay,
But we'd like to, when we indicate that, we would probably table this for 1 month.
okay, right.
Okay.
But
That's it.
I have a question going back to our guidelines versus what the preservation people say. Our guidelines don't follow the recommendations. I mean, there are some things that we didn't agree with them, that we didn't put into our
You as a
guidelines.
board will need to decide how to deal with those
And
discrepancies.
my understanding was that our guidelines were the final word.
You as a board will need to
Well-
decide how to deal with those discrepancies.
We've still got discretion too.
Yeah.
Right, so technically, we have the authority because our guidelines say it's based on,
You could actually vote tonight if you felt you didn't need to wait for the engineer's report and make a decision on this.
because our guidelines say it's not a contributing
You
considered.
could do that.
As far as I'm concerned, and I'm the chairman of the board, I want to table your proposal till next month, and then you can bring forth the engineering report and then everybody will be happy.
Yep, that's fine. I'm not in any urgent
I
rush. I'd
think-
like to get it done sooner than later, but 1 month isn't, it's a relatively small project, so it's,
Not table, defer, not table.
Defer, not
okay.
table. Thank you, Tracy.
The other part of that was to get an extension on my approval to install the fence.
I'm sorry, I didn't
So
hear.
the other part of the thing, I was asking for approval
The
to
6-month extension.
do the fence. Can I proceed with the fence?
He had a previous certificate of appropriateness that was approved for a fence.
We did that.
That is the-
September 22, 2021.
Right, we did that.
Yeah, but
Haven't
it's
done
6
that.
months now.
Hang on, let's finish. So you approved that prior, more than a year ago. It has expired, and he is asking for that to be brought back to life and provide a 6-month additional calendar to get that fence installed.
Okay, would you make a motion that we
I'll
do?
make a motion that we extend the approval for 6 months
Second.
to allow him to finish it.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Duly motioned and second that you get the extension to do your fence.
Vote.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Ayes have it and so forth.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Where's the paper?
Now, we still have other administrative
I know.
things.
Okay, took care of that. The next thing we have is commercial district, none. Others, none. Other business, monthly report from the zoning administrator, Katie Nunes.
Before we actually get to that, we had indicated we would take up the election of officers at the end of this meeting, so we'd like to handle that first.
I would like to table that until we have a full board.
Or defer.
What? What?
Or defer.
Or defer, right.
That's fine. Okay, so under the monthly report. We've given you our list of what has been approved administratively by me as a minor exemptions. Boy, I can read these words. If you have any questions on those, I'll do my best to try and answer those. But if not, I'm going to move on. We have done, we're hopefully in the next 2 months, we'll be coming back with our zoning officer and being able to go out and do some compliance checks with your issued certificates of appropriateness. Because again, as you know, we have new staff on board. Robert James is our new zoning compliance officer, and we've been doing training and getting him brought up to speed on many areas of review that he is responsible for. And so we're slowly moving him over to start doing the historic district certificates of appropriateness to ensure that they've been constructed, et cetera. So, lastly, we wanted to make you aware, we had a request come into our office, into the building office from town council requesting an update on the derelict structures and where we are and what's next in that process and program. And so we did put together a PowerPoint presentation that has gone to town council. They've received that. They did find it very informative and useful, and we felt we would share that with you as well. Most importantly, what is on our plate today? And so we felt it was important to point that out. As you know, the work is progressing on 424 Randolph Avenue, which was the one that we did a demolition by neglect violation on that one to move that forward.
It looks great.
And it's looking fantastic. So we are so pleased with how that has moved forward. So the next one, while we have not done any violation orders or notices on this property, we felt it was the next one that we were getting concerned was in a very similar condition. And while we had had promising efforts from the property owner up to that point, we just weren't seeing enough forward momentum or progress on getting that done. And that was at 426, 428 Randolph. As you know, they've been back before you again. We've pushed forward to get that remotivated. And so hopefully it sounds like we might be with the right mix of folks and contractor on board and building plans being drawn up at this point. So we hope to keep 426, 428 off of any further demolition and moving forward in a very productive state, similar to its neighborhood. So
Weren't they recently in there doing work and they had to stop?
we had to stop them because they did not have approvals in place.
'Cause it
That's
had
correct.
expired.
They did not have a certificate of appropriateness from us because it had expired. We had no building plans on file for them yet. There were a whole series of things that had not been obtained yet. So we worked with them and moved them forward. Again, they came back, we reaffirmed their approvals with you, and we are prepared to continue to work with them to keep getting that building tackled. So we wanted to make everybody aware of that what we're working on. They are time consuming. So we want to make you aware of that from our staff's perspective. It takes a great deal of time in working with each of these properties to get to the point where we're getting to them. So we don't want to take on 10 or 15 of these at one time. We really want to pace ourselves so that we get the results we're achieving.
One bite at a time.
Yes, one bite at a time. So we don't want anyone to think we don't have others on our list. We have put together what we consider the next in the queue, which we will be working on 619 Mason Avenue. We think it's going to be a pretty significant project for us to undertake and get done. We've been fortunate that the town has actually not been the one to have to do any of the physical work itself, meaning hiring the contractors, et cetera. We've been able to work with the existing property owners to bring us to fruition. So we hope to achieve that same result for 619 Mason, but we won't know until we get into that project. And the others that we've identified that would be next, if they're not taken care of before we get to them, 115 Fig, 122 Pine, and 649 Monroe. It doesn't mean that there can't be more considered on our list. If you happen to come across any, let us know. And I say that to the public at large and to you as board members, let us know. We'll go investigate it. And if we feel they should be added to the list because we have some concerns, then we can add them to the list.
Yeah.
But we wanted you to see the work we had provided to town council, and we put it out there on the website as well. Because I do want to give the accolades that this board and the town has done as a whole. We wanted to give some history. So we did pull forward some prior examples of what had been going on in this district. There had been real demolition and real in danger of demolition due to neglect and its conditions. And the progress that's been made, the investment that has been made in the historic district is phenomenal.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
And
been
we
amazing.
really want
Really
to
amazing.
make people aware that this has not been easy to come by. Some of these have been issues out there for more than 20, 25 years. And so it's really quite an impressive feat that this town has achieved. That's it.
Thank you very much, Katie.
The one next to you, that was there when I used to own the corner. And you know, I used to own that corner house. But with the
Yeah, right.
detached,
So,
The house next to me, when I bought mine.
it was in that condition.
Yeah, oh, it's been that way forever.
I do have one more item that was
Oh.
not on the agenda, but we had some emails in the last few days. And I indicated from one of our members at his request that I would bring this forward so that we can put this on the calendar for conversation. One member has requested a consideration of a new meeting time, not necessarily changing the date, but the time of day in which we meet. And he wanted to have that raised because he currently is in a conflict with being able to attend the meetings in the afternoon hours. I indicated I would at least put it before the board as a whole and see where you'd like to go with that. We had this issue now occur twice in the last 2 months where we just made the quorum today. And I recognize there are obligations, responsibilities, and life happens to each of us. And we're trying to respect that. But part of it is we're trying to ensure that we're getting business done, because you can see there is still business, ongoing, active stuff in this district, and we want to get timely answers out to everyone.
Could I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Is it possible that we have alternates that can fill the space?
We have.
I was an alternate for a year
Sure.
before there was a vacancy, but I attended every meeting without the right to vote, but I was aware of what the business was at hand. And then there came a vacancy, I was appointed to the board. Do we have that available now?
We can again request that from town council, that they seek to
Didn't we
recruit
have
for
an
that.
alternate
You had one alternate that was appointed
to town?
last summer.
And he had to leave for,
He became mayor.
He became
Right.
the mayor.
but I'm saying, so we have done it.
Yeah, but we don't have one now, do we?
So, no, you don't have an alternate named at this point in time, and we're just making you aware, and so part of this, maybe we need to have a conversation, and I threw that out in an email that went out today from Tracy and myself about this issue. So we may want to do a meeting, a phone call amongst the board members to talk about when you meet, the date and time you're meeting, and we also need to talk about, do we want to start putting in place, if people feel they can no longer meet these commitments, and this is the date and time we want to continue meeting on, then they may need to reconsider being able to continue to serve. And so if that's the case, we just want to start getting notice out to the town council, they can start recruiting, because recruiting for boards is sometimes challenging.
Oh, for sure.
So I hear you, we can ask them to go seek, if we can find alternates, but we may not be successful in that, I don't know.
Okay, can I ask you your opinion? If it's acceptable to the board to change the hour, what hardship would it place upon the people coming to the board? If we moved it from in the afternoon to the morning, would that place a hardship on the applicants? That's,
It may.
okay, well, that's who we're trying to satisfy, is the applicant, correct?
And again, that's why this is a discussion amongst this board, and it's not a decision that staff can make. It's something that this board would need to decide and vote upon.
No.
I think because this
She just-
board
not
deals
to be rude,
directly
no.
with the public more so than
He just
some of
wanted
the
to
other ones do,
alert us to that,
that it is
and yeah.
important we
and,
are
uh,
accessible.
We can ask anything we want the next meeting, where we're,
Right.
yeah.
So I just wanted to put it out there that this needs to be a discussion item on our next meeting, whether we convene a special meeting to have this conversation, and maybe that meeting could be by Zoom call or something of that nature, or we defer it until our next regular meeting in May. Sorry, I
Well,
forgot
could
what
you-
month I was in.
Is it possible, I know you're busy, but could you or your staff poll the existing board members for the output and then make the decision?
We can do a survey.
You can do a survey on the telephone or
Yep.
the,
No, you can do
Email.
Survey Monkey,
Yeah,
real
right.
easy. You just answer it and it.
Yes,
could,
So.
could you do that?
we can do that.
Then I think that, yes?
When I send those surveys out, I need everyone to answer them.
You gotta answer it.
Are you throwing me under the bus again?
Not only you.
I'll help you.
So, and this is no reflection upon anybody not doing a fantastic job on this board. I really want to make that really clear. I think every board member that we have serving has a contributing function here, has been a great member. This is just a reality of what's life has happened in some people's calendars, and they're struggling to meet this particular commitment and are asking for some consideration. We may not be able to honor that consideration, that's all. So, but we will put out a survey and get the board's response.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's the first start, is go ahead, put the survey out, and I'll do my best to respond to the survey,
Yep,
if I'm available to respond to the survey. Okay,
okay, thank you very much.
you're welcome. Thank you very much, Katie and Tracy. I have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to.
I'll second it.
It's been duly motioned and seconded. Don't leave, Paul, and seconded that we adjourn.